In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to access the longitudinal view of your RISE scores in the RISE reporting interface. So first, head to utahrise.org and click on Reporting and go. Once you're logged in, you'll see the default is to show you the 2023-24 scores for summative tests. And that's exactly what I want. So that's great. I'll click Go to Dashboard. Now, if I had wanted to dive into any other school year, I could by clicking Change the Reporting Time Period. But for now, I just want to look at this year's students and this year's scores. So I'll leave it as is and click Go to Dashboard. And then once I'm here, I can see my different subject areas that were tested. I'm going to look at my math scores over time. So I'll click on Summative Math. And then here I can see the list of students in my roster. And I've got 26 students in my roster. It looks like 24 of them tested. So I'll click on Summative Math 6 to look at more information. So once I'm on this screen where I can see the title Performance by Roster, and I can see my comparison between my students, the school, the district, and the state, I'm going to go up here to this menu in the top right called Features and Tools, and I'm going to select Build Longitudinal Report because I want to see my students and how they've performed over time. Same group of kids over time. So I'll click Build Longitudinal Report. And now it looks like I have fewer students. So my original roster is 26. It looks like I only have 20 students who have scores back to grade 4. If I select grade 3-2, now it's down to 17. But that's fine. I just want to see, let's go as far back as we can. So I've got 4 years of scores for 17 students who've got all 4 scores. So now I'll click Generate Report. And I can see their average score over time back to grade 3. Now this line goes up, but it's supposed to because math is on a vertical scale. So you know for the RISE math tests, students are expected to get a higher score every year. A vertical scale. So I'm going to switch this view to the performance bar, which I think is a bit more helpful because this shows me students who are at a level 1 red, a level 2 yellow or approaching proficient. Red is below proficient, yellow is level 2 approaching proficient, green is level 3 proficient, and blue is level 4 highly proficient. So now I can see since grade 3 and then grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6, how are my students progressing in their proficiency over time? And I see some really good news here. One, I see that the number of my students who are below proficient in grade 5 was really reduced between grade 5 and grade 6. That's fantastic. And the number of students who were highly proficient really increased between grade 5 and grade 6. That's also really good news. And I bet I moved a lot of those below proficient students up into the yellow approaching proficient, which is great news. So I can compare these size of these bars over time to see how students are moving through the proficiency levels. And again, same group of kids over time. Now, since I'm looking at Math 6, I only see this year's scores for the sub-score areas because Math 6 is the first year where we're testing expressions and equations. And on that note, if you are a Math 6 teacher and you don't see your students improving in their proficiency between grade 5 and grade 6, just know that's actually totally normal. The transition from Math 5 standards to Math 6 standards is a pretty tough transition. And so actually a lot of students in a lot of classes see a drop in proficiency between Math 5 and Math 6. Very normal to see. But if I were looking at Math 5 or Math 8 or some class where I'd had the same areas tested for several years in a row, I would see data over time for those sub areas as well. So if like I were a Math 8 teacher, I could see expressions and equations over time and see how my students had progressed in that one area. And when you're looking at these sub areas, you'll notice there's only 3 colors, whereas if I'm looking at overall performance, there's 4 colors. So any sub score area, any reporting category, they're not going to have 4 proficiency levels. They're going to collapse level 2 and level 3 into what's called at or near the standard. So level 2 and level 3 are so close together and their meanings are so similar that for the sub areas, they just get collapsed. That's at or near the standard. And then green represents being above the standard in this sub-score, and then red represents being below the standard. So I can also compare these areas and see, okay, my students are doing the best in geometry, statistics, and probability. Maybe, or at least I have the fewest students below the standard in that area. So that's also really good news. And I can use this little arrow to see all 4 areas that are tested in grade 6. And in this way, I can hopefully see a little bit more about my students and how they're progressing over time. Let me know if you have any questions about this. You can reach me at brooke.anderson@jordandistrict.org, or if you have any questions about RISE, please reach out to Cassidy Towery at cassidy.towery@jordandistrict.org. Thank you.